Okay. Hello, good afternoon or good evening. It's 4:14 here. Good evening. So, welcome back to Kenton and Habiba. And we decided to go live a little earlier than typical because turns out most of you are actually online now when it comes to middle of the week, Wednesday. So, yeah, this is a more serious subject, and we just thought we would delve into it. Just to give you a little, well, Kenton. So, just to give you a little background of why I picked this particular subject, talking about scammers. We're going to talk a little bit about scammers and also trafficking, and basically just being more alert of some of these issues that are happening or concerns, especially during the holiday season. So, yeah, I got up today and I was just feeling a little under the weather and a little anxious. Then I learned that one of my peers had been in an accident, motor vehicle accident, but thankfully she's doing fine. And yeah, with the weather being bad, be careful out there on the road. And then there was another one whose child has gone missing, has been missing for a while. So just a lot of stuff going on that made me reflect about how fortunate we are. Sometimes we get carried away with our feelings and what's going on with us. We don't realize that there's a lot of things that could be so much worse going on right now. Anyway, so yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about being careful. Kenton's going to talk more about, I guess, all the type of scammers that are out there. That, of course, we all know that there are scammers, especially now in the holiday season. But I wanted to say a few words about trafficking, and I just bought some notes. Or Ken, you want to introduce what you'll be talking about first?
No,
You
go
want me to
ahead.
go
Go
first?
ahead. Go.
Okay. All right, so yeah, first of all, a little definition for those who don't know what human trafficking is. And I'm sure you know, again, during the holiday season, they are out there, so be careful. And I'm talking mostly not just to the young women, because human trafficking happens a lot to young women, but it does happen to young boys or young men too, but mostly young women. So be careful when you're out shopping or when you're just out of the house. Be careful of your surroundings, and of course, even older folk too. But anyway, um, trafficking, human trafficking, a definition for you, of course, can happen many different ways, right? Complex ways. There's not one way human trafficking happens. But human trafficking is a crime involving the exploitation of someone for the purpose of compelled labor or a commercial sex act through the use of force, fraud, or coercion. So, and then when it pertains to a person that's 18 years or younger, or where a person younger than 18 is induced to perform a commercial sex act, it is a crime regardless of whether there's any force, fraud, or coercion. And hello to whoever's joining us. I'm sorry if I'm not able to acknowledge you yet. Okay, and then according to the United Nations, the traffickers often use violence or fraudulent employment agencies and fake promises of education and job opportunities to trick and coerce their victims. So again, I just wanted you to be really careful with those of you that have young teenage children, to remind them to be mindful. Everybody's like out there shopping or not paying attention. People will follow you in the stores. I've heard of stories where even in Walmart, you wouldn't think Walmart, they have these, unfortunately, times it may be men that you find following you or just trying to have a conversation with your young ones for no reason, just suspicious. Also, trust your spidey sense or trust your intuition. Okay, so yeah, this whole trafficking, it's a major concern and it's a silent epidemic here in the US. I didn't know that human trafficking is the second most profitable illegal industry in the US, according to UNICEF. I didn't know that at all. It's really a big deal. but a lot of us don't talk about it until your child or your teenager goes missing, which is super scary.
But
There,
but it's not just that. See, the
what?
thing is that human trafficking, see, that's the thing is that it's occurring around us and we don't see it because we don't think it's about us.
Right.
Human trafficking is because it's occurring in industries, for example, like in industries when they bring illegal immigrants in. That's where
Mm-hmm.
human trafficking comes
Mm-hmm.
in.
Mm-hmm.
Or in restaurant industries where they bring people in under false pretenses for jobs, and
Right.
then they hold them hostage because they don't have the proper documentation and they force them to work, or for
Right.
sex work. So
Right. No, I
that's,
was about to say there are
yeah,
common types, or here are the common types of human trafficking.
yeah,
Because, yeah, it can come in different forms. It might
yeah.
not just be someone
Just
snatching your
snatching, yeah. It's
child
not just
or,
snatching.
kidnapping or whatever. No,
That's why,
no.
yeah, that's why, because
So,
that wouldn't make it the number two.
right, it can come in the form of forced labor,
That's right. That's right.
right? It can come in the form of sex, forced sex.
Mm.
It can come in the form of forced marriage. How many of us actually think of forced marriage as human trafficking? But yeah, it can come in that form. It can come in domestic servitude,
You're right.
in private people's homes, wealthier people that have, yeah, these agencies that get these kids or young people to force labor or force them to work for them. So domestic servitude, it can come in the form of child soldiers where they're using minors to, use as fighters.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you
Again,
said, different
but
forms.
again, this is a global list because
Right.
obviously we don't have child soldiers here in
Right,
the United
right, right. But
States.
in the
So,
US, apparently sex trafficking is the most common type of trafficking.
yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, I was just highlighting this because I wanted people with young people to be very mindful and alert, especially during this holiday season. Yeah.
So what do people do if they notice something that causes them? For example, say they notice an older male
Mm-hmm.
with a young lady with them, say, either a minor or someone that's very young, under
Right.
20, and then that person, they don't seem to be related, but they seem to be in, that person is scared or stuff like that. What can they do?
Um, I
Mm,
didn't look up, I
mm,
did not consider that. I mean, obviously common sense says if you are able to help and interject and
so if,
distract,
yeah,
then certainly you
yeah,
should do that.
so
That's
yeah,
the human
yeah,
thing.
notify the
And
authorities if you can. See
notify.
if you can reach out and ask if that, if, because many times that's part of the trafficking is that they are constantly in control. So they don't leave that person out of their sight. They may
Right,
be right there with them. So, it's nothing wrong with asking someone if they're okay. If you see someone, especially a child, is in distress, it's okay to ask, because sometimes what happens is that we feel like, oh, well, we shouldn't get involved and so forth. But especially in these times now, if we're talking about minor stuff, it's okay to just say, "Hey, you okay? Your parents here?
right. What if
Whatever."
it's not a minor? I'm thinking more of, your young
Same thing. If it's
adults,
young, yeah,
like
but it's
your
20s,
20 something
still
year
okay. If they're
old.
in distress, it's nothing
Right,
wrong with it. Even if it's an older person, it's okay to ask if someone, "Hey, you okay?" If they're like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Everything's cool." That's it. Then that's all you know. But if it's, again, like you say, if you trust your senses, there's no harm to
but
get.
what if it's happening to you also? Really,
Well,
I'm thinking about from that perspective. You're a young female driving, you parked your car, you feel like someone is
Well,
following you.
that's, again, that's not human trafficking yet. That's again being safe in your environment,
Right.
and again,
That's how
always
it
be
starts.
aware, right? But always be aware, and then again, looking for help. One of the key things too is that, if sometimes some trafficking, there are situations where individuals are pretending to be law enforcement,
Mm,
and they try to pull someone over. And they have lights and stuff. Do not pull over in a dark area.
mm,
Okay, it's okay for you to go and seek to go someplace that's lit and that's not so tough, especially when you're in the country, right?
right.
Because you have long distance. But if you need to, you can then seek, and law enforcement should understand that when you finally stop. Then again, they might feel like you're fleeing, but if you can find a way and put on your flashers on to show that you're in distress, that's the other thing too. Put your flashers on and try to go to a safe spot so you're not alone. Because yeah, it's very scary,
Right. Or what
right?
if you're in a store? Like I said, I've heard of people being like at Walmart, for
So then you
example.
find security and you go or you ask for help, or there's nothing wrong if like you're uncomfortable, if someone's following you. People are more than happy to help if you ask. So find someone, either a clerk or even if it's a customer that you know that is like someone with a family, and you come up to them and say, "Hey, do you mind? There's an individual here that seems to be bothering me." Then they can call security and get assistance. So the whole point is that don't be afraid to speak up and be your own advocate if you are alone. And if you're
Right.
not, don't be afraid to be an advocate to someone else. If they come up to you and they just say, "Hey, do you mind escorting me to the front so I can help," or stuff like that. And sometimes it can be a scary situation because nowadays people can get violent very quickly and so forth. So the best thing to do is to look for um, police officers or security to assist and de-escalate.
Okay. I'm just going to acknowledge the people that are here today. Lexi McLeod, Mr. Maska one says, big hello to you guys from Russia, from the Republic of Dagestan. I have never heard of that before, place.
That's
But
cool.
hello, if
Yeah.
it's a real place,
Yeah, of course
hello.
it's a real place. Yeah.
Angela said, I made it to alive. Yes, you made it alive. David J. Or Gloria, friend to you, says, hello, I made alive today. How are you both? We are fine. Sounds like a competitive debate. Competitive? I don't know about competitive.
Yeah, she always wins, so it's not that
No, it's
competitive.
not. No, not. It's not like competitive. It's just, no. We're just two A-type people, two
You're,
firstborns.
yeah, you're more
And to
like that
make
than
it
I
more
am.
interesting, a lot of times, I got to make sure that we share different perspectives because, anyway,
It's
and
not.
we learn from each other.
We're not dating yet. It's
Right,
just
we're not dating. Hello from Talata Muffara. Amaru Ismaila says, what are you doing? Someone says, hi, hi, hi. Again, we were talking about being alert, looking out for scammers and traffickers this holiday season, especially young people that are out there during the holiday season, maybe not paying attention or just be careful out there and just remind your young people to be careful. And for the older people in particular, let's talk more about scammers that are
well,
out there.
but scams are not just older people. It's
Right.
all
Anyone can
people.
get
I mean,
scammed.
anyone can get.
Influencers are getting scammed
Yeah.
every day,
So there's a lot of different scams that are going out
Right.
there, especially during the holidays. So I'm just going to talk just very quickly, and
Right.
at another time we can talk about other ones or ones that our community may be concerned about too. Because again, this is information for all of us. But some of the things you might even have received already, like I've received some, which are text messages. They're saying, "Hey, thank you for your order for
Right.
$1,500 on the
I
computer."
got one today that
Yeah,
said, yeah,
yeah. Click on this link and to
right.
verify your delivery address, and they'll say, or Amazon has your order on hold. Please
Mm-hmm.
verify your credit card to process. I
Right.
mean, there's all kinds of different texts because again, what happens is that we have so many breaches that have occurred over the past couple of years,
Mm.
and now your basic information, like because we had some large breaches in regards to the cell phone companies, and
Mm.
they're on the dark web and they get sold to these different groups, and now they're using these cell phone numbers and they're sending out phishing information. So you're getting these text messages or a text message just like, "Hey, haven't heard from you in a while," and they engage you in a conversation.
Right.
You say, "Who's this?" And then they start trying to talk to you.
So
And
you
so
probably shouldn't respond, right?
yeah,
If you
if you
get
don't
one of
recognize the
those.
number or anything, like just delete and block it. You should have a blocker on your phone. Different Samsung has it, T-Mobile, Apple has it, but you should be able to not only just delete and also put it on your blocking list.
Mm.
The other thing too is that you have scam websites now. So
Mm.
you have now websites that are and they put ads out on Facebook and stuff, and it'll look like great deals. Matter of fact, they estimated that for Apple products alone, Apple phones, there's already 77,000 scamming sites out there.
Wow.
That's how huge it is, offering the newest iPhone for like ridiculously low prices, like 30
Right.
bucks,
Right.
100 bucks,
So
just
those are all
something.
scams,
Most likely,
majority of them.
yeah, absolutely. Because again, you think about it, a $1,200 to a $2,000 phone for $200, your first thought is like, there's something wrong with the phone and so forth. So, and you see it, one thing is a deal sounds too good. The other thing too is a couple ways to look at a website is, again, check and verify any browser address box. To the left is a lock. If you click on that, it'll tell you whether that site is verified or not, that it is what it is. And many of these scam sites either don't have the lock, or the lock is actually a different site. It goes to a different site. The other thing too is that you want to look at the website, you want to look at the URL,
Right, the
URL,
email, right.
and you want to look at the address. And if the address doesn't make sense, like a personal address, or if it's a, if it's
Like a Gmail.
well, yeah, Gmail
Right.
or .net or something that doesn't quite match the site in itself. That's another
Right.
thing too. Just like with our website for our store, you'll see it also have a verify underneath it, so it's encrypted. That's the thing. So when you go on the address, it should have it should be a secure HTTPS. It should be an encrypted or secured link.
Right.
So a lot of these sites don't. So if you don't have a secure site blocker activated on your browser, you need to go that in the settings, because then that way you get annoyed because there'll be sites that you might have visited regularly that aren't secured, and it'll stop it. It'll ask you if you want to advance, and if you know it, you can add it to the list that, oh, okay, this is a site that I do go to. Sometimes blogs are like that. People have blogs that aren't on secure servers.
Right.
But for the most part, for shopping purposes, you should only shop on secure server sites.
Right.
The other thing, yeah, go ahead.
Good. Yeah, I was gonna say, if for some who may not be technologically savvy or not really familiar with, what to do or how to figure out whether this is real or a scam or not. I know personally myself, when I get emails as like, as a content creator, because I get all these deals where people are like, hey, we want to offer you this, this product to advertise, or we would like you to do this X, Y, and Z. If I'm not sure, I just pretend to reply. So just, click the little arrow as if you are going to reply, and that will immediately show you their address. And when you see the address, usually you can tell if they're pretending to be a large business, but yet their address or return address is some weird,
yeah,
hokey dokey.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gmail, especially, because
Yeah.
obviously Gmails typically are personal. So how is a personal one person sending for a whole company? Usually that's how I can tell it's fake, and I'll just immediately delete or block.
Yeah, exactly. It's there's those little things like that, and then also if there's misspelling, all of a
The
sudden you'll
English,
see,
the language ain't quite
yeah, it doesn't
right.
quite right, doesn't quite flow. The other thing too is that you can do too is that, especially on sites that are trying to sell like bags, right? So high-end bags, you see, and that's another big scam. Though, you already know you got bags for $5,000. They're trying to sell it for 500 or for
Right,
350.
right.
Oh, what a deal, right? But one thing you can do is you can do a reverse image search. You can actually take the image from the website, and if you can actually put it into like Google Image, and you can actually see where that image actually has come from. Because now, because of prevalent scans, Google and stuff, those images are tagged, so you can see if they've lifted that image from like the original site and so forth. So there's
Right.
another thing. The other thing too is that if also you can see that many times, like you say, with these offers, there'll be someone's name or something like that. They'll say like it's their name. You can look them up on LinkedIn, and you can immediately tell if they're fake or not. That name is made up, or they aren't even associated with a company.
Right,
So there's
right.
all these different things you can do.
Hi, Nimar Cortez. Hi, Chantel Nelson. Hello, there's a full-time job for scammers to separate job from their money. Yeah,
Yeah.
Allison G says.
Yeah.
Yep. Hi, Brown Girl Reading. Hey, I see you. Nice to catch you on live. And Angela says, Allison, yes, it's scary. Yeah. So, yeah, the whole point of today was just to remind people, especially again during this holiday season, check your environment when you're going in and out of stores. Watch out. The traffickers are out there snatching young people, for God knows what. And also, there's a ton of scammers, as usual,
Yeah.
online,
Yeah.
in your text messages, on your phones. you know?
Be careful, yeah. And so try again, use also be careful of malicious malware,
Mm,
emails are phishing if they're sending stuff to you. Look great deals. Again, watch out for those promos because it's easy when you're trying to look for a deal and stuff and it looks too good to be true. It probably is.
right,
So,
right, right, right. Okay, Boo, is that all you wanted to say?
because I gotta go.
All right, all right. So Ken's got to run, and actually we were on for like 20 minutes. That's not too bad. So it's one of our shorter lives.
But let us know if what kind of scams or stuff like that, or anything
Have
that's
you been
interested. Yeah,
scammed?
have you
Have
been
you been
scammed?
scammed? And what did
Or
you
if it's gotten
learn?
close. Yeah, and the other big scam is also job scams.
Mm,
Because right now people are,
right.
especially
People
with
are
these tough times,
desperate.
and so you got job scams out there. So if there's a job that you have to put money in, you got to pay a fee for something, training, background check, and so forth. Pause, because any legitimate job, you shouldn't have to be paying for those things.
Mm,
All right. Even a recruiter says, "Hey, I can help you get a job. You need to pay me $500." Next, don't do it.
mm,
Especially if times are tough. Don't be desperate and give up your money. If again, it's the same thing. If a job sounds too good to be true, do your due diligence. Don't get snatched up with these unethical people that are taking advantage when people are desperate in these
right.
tough times. So big right now, big time job scammers are just full force right now. It's only going to
Mm,
get worse. So
mm,
please be careful.
right. All right, folks. It was nice, even though I didn't get to talk to you guys too much like we typically do. But yeah, it was just something on my heart. I just thought, you know what? Let's talk about this real quick. Okay, people, I will see you later. Okay? Say
Thanks. All right. Appreciate
hi.
everybody. Thanks for the. All right.
Bye.